But it's rather like saying that if the Rockefeller Center turned into a banana split, ice cream would melt all over Fifth Avenue. Or he could have drunk water laced with a teeny tiny amount of strychnine to see what effect one tiny substance has on his body.
Bring these people to justice, that they be tried for fraud. Billion-dollar, trillion-dollar fraud.
Shut up! Now look, you don't know anything about this, see? No, I don't know nothing.
The hackers got all the secret documents. It's in AP. It's in Washington Post.
Sullivan picked me up at my home. He's got everything that was in my safe. Account books, receipts, names, addresses, bank books, everything.
I'm taking care of this job myself. Get Blackie up here right away.
He's talking about a trick.
Knowingly perpetuating fraud.
The theory of global warming is a huge conspiracy.
Okay, before you all get too excited.
No, Kent, they wouldn't. They'd say,
"Oi, Hovind, we can't carbon date this. There's no f***ing carbon in it."
No, they would have said,
"Oi, Miller, we can't carbon date that, you idiot. There's no f***ing carbon in it."
Miller didn't tell them he was going to carbon date these pieces of mineralized fossil, because if he had, they'd have said to him,
"There's no f***ing carbon in it."
So he did something completely out of character for a creationist, and didn't come clean about what he wanted to do with the sample.
Brains may have been an expert in every aspect of science, but his arse was made of plastic.
This is an important part of what Hovind calls
the Hovind theory.
Yeah, he seems to have dreamed it up by sitting in a chair.
My name is Joe.
Okay, not yet, Joe. I suppose we've got no choice but to have another stab at Neil Adams. I asked again about... Not now, Joe. I asked again about where the extra mass came from. Okay, now, Joe.
Oh. Drop my ear up in Asia.
Never mind, we'll come back to you. Adams and Maxlow's hypothesis not only overturns everything we know about...
Antarctic?
Not now, Joe. Oh, I nearly forgot. Now, Joe. Now.
Sledges, snowmen, snowballs, and the excitement of waking to find that the stuff has settled outside are all a rapidly diminishing part of Britain's culture. A generation was growing up without experiencing one of the great joys and privileges of living in this part of the world, open-air skating. The chances are certainly now stacked against the sort of heavy snowfall in cities that inspired Impressionist painters such as Sisley and the 19th century poet laureate Robert Bridges, who wrote in London Snow of it, stealthily and perpetually settling and loosely lying. Not anymore, it seems.
I'll cut before I throw up. But Viner has been surprisingly silent on this ever since snowmen, sledges and snowballs unexpectedly appeared on his doorstep last November.
Foot odor will become a sexual pheromone. Bird crap will become bigger and whiter. The Italian Prime Minister will grow a new body part, but no one will know what it is. A man will scoff and say, "Look, I've got nothing against these prophecies."
Look, I've got nothing against these prophecies. Oh, that's right. Judgment Day is May 21st, 2011. Well, all I can say is that it's coming up to midnight on May the 20th here in Australia, and I'm not seeing any sign of Sorry, I hit the power cable. And from his knowledge of the way radioactive material gives off a colourful glow in The Simpsons, he assumed this meant that the red colour was due to radioactivity. It's rather like a screwdriver. You can use it to take apart a complex bit of machinery to see how it works or why it's gone wrong, or you can stick it in your ear to see how far it goes before it meets resistance. These days, Cliffy would undoubtedly have his own website, and to disguise the fact that it's written by a mailman, he can make it anonymous. Or he can give himself any title he likes and claim a specialist background he doesn't have.
Yeah, he's got a gun.
Ian, that's incredible.
It sure is, because incredible means unbelievable, and I don't believe it for a minute.
Ian, that's incredible. Ian, that's incredible.
Not only that, one of them was made of chocolate.
That's incredible.
Of course it is, Carl. I'm pulling your plonker.
Bringing all of this
Speak up, Chris, I can't
down
hear.
to earth, okay?
You looking at my bird?
Take
What's
into
your
account the following things. Which
You having a
is
laugh, mate?
depicted as
Oh dear. As usual, Friday night at the Dog and Duck has descended into an anarchic punch-up thanks to the arrival of the Chelsea Shed Boys. So what do all these magical cycle believers say now?
We all die. I thank God for this life. See you in heaven.
No, it's okay. It's not real.
I just heard this for the first time, and I think you're definitely right.
No,
the weather has been
this
actually
isn't
very
real.
strange lately. And you know how it talks about how we'll get to the point where you won't even know what season it is with the change in the weather? I could see it hitting the Madrid fault line.
No.
I hope not, but I always remember the work that was done on the dam near the line.
No, I'm not
So,
making-
has anyone ever had dreams of the coming? I have multiple times, and it was so realistic I thought I was in heaven.
Look, I'm not trying to prophesy something here. I'm trying to show you that this is rubbish. Yeah, my mistake. It's probably my inability to read that led me to believe his website said the videos were $9.99 plus $1.99 US shipping. Well, hang on, it did. You should let people make up their own minds. We're not idiots. No, I'm not saying you're not allowed to make up your own minds. Now you can make your own graph based on what you feel is obvious, completely devoid of figures, like this one from the International Journal of Feelings that compares the amount of stuff with the effect of that stuff. And instantly we see that heaps of stuff leads to a humongous effect, while a tiny amount of stuff leads to a teeny-weeny effect. While the Moncton who says CO2 is hugely important argues it out with the Moncton who claims it's negligible, let me take the side of Mr. Moncton, by which I mean this one. If we look at another Feely graph of global phenomena against lack of humility, we can see that doubling carbon dioxide levels is much higher up the scale than the idea that we're polluting the oceans, which is merely self-inflated, or the assumption that we're destroying tropical rainforests, which achieves the level of haughty. The more humble the feeling, the more likely it is that a phenomenon is occurring. Facetious Badger was seriously injured when coffee spat out of his nose. Now he's suing me for a replacement keyboard. You can't make something funny just by giggling as you read it because it mentions body hair, sex and armpits. Now I've got no idea who this mystery climatologist is. One person we know it definitely isn't is Professor Tim Ball.
The sun is virtually ignored by the authorities, and particularly the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
Well, now we definitely know it's not Tim Ball, because Tim Ball doesn't sound anything like that.
Well, they virtually ignore the sun as a factor of climate change.
Well, that's funny. Excuse me a second. Tim? Hello? Tim? Is that you? I can see you. Yes, it is you, Tim. And interviewers being scared that they're followed to
the outskirts of civilization.
In other words, Canada, where Tim Ball lives. As for the French, you say j'ai mangé, j'ai bu, but you say je suis allé. What's wrong with you people? Okay, look, here's the White House. Why is it painted red? Aliens may have painted it from executions carried out by the government in secret. No, I don't need an explanation of why it's painted red, because it's not f***ing painted red.
You are astoundingly ignorant.
Who let you in?
As the Earth is growing, and growing it is.
Shut up! I don't care.
I assure you the planet is gaining mass, has been gaining mass, and will continue to do so as long as it exists as a planet.
Will you shut up?
On a clear night, take some time and...
It's beginning to sound less like something you learnt from a medical study, Todd, and more like something you heard in the locker room during football training in high school.
And there are a whole series of studies.
Great. Well, off you go and get them, while I entertain my subscribers with a popular selection of London tea room dance melodies. Sorry, I can't wait any longer, Todd. You don't have any medical studies, do you? You see, the thing is,
It's sort of like me saying that last week my son had the MMR vaccine, and a week later he finished first in the 100 metres race at school. Obviously, that would mean vaccines improve athletic performance.
Patrick Moore, who you may remember from the weed killer incident... Wait, no, we don't talk about the weed killer incident. Next, we come to the weed killer incident. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. We must never mention the weed killer incident. He's learnt from one bad experience that it's not a good idea to be interviewed by people who might challenge his claims. It was... I know, I shouldn't mention it, but... Okay, it was the weed killer incident. Maybe I'll... No, I can't. Oh, right, you win. I'll tell you about the weed killer incident.
Experts admit global warming predictions wrong.
What? No, there's more to it than that.
Fear of global warming is exaggerated, say scientists.
Excuse me, they didn't say that at all.
Climate alarmists finally admit we were wrong about global warming.
Oh, look, can you all calm down? That's enough.
Report shows that the world isn't as warm as the green doommongers warned.
Shush.
How scientists got their global warming...
Shut up! I can list the differences very clearly in this graphic, so hopefully they won't get mixed up again in Tony's next rebuttal.
But he never explains what crashing into the ground means.
Okay, well, crashing to the ground means that the plank of wood crashes into the ground. Sorry, in that case, I'll explain how a teeter-totter defies the law of gravity, picks itself up off the ground, and gets back into balance. The answer is on the screen. I'm not sure what the point is, except don't put your hand under a teeter-totter if a fat guy sits on it. There's currently a debate over this issue in the scientific community, so you need to keep an open mind and listen to both sides of the argument. There was a huge controversy earlier this year when a peer-reviewed paper was published providing more evidence that the moon is made of cheese. The reason you haven't heard about this is because as soon as the paper was published, the author was fired from his job stacking boxes at a Walmart superstore, ostensibly because he forgot to refrigerate a carton of blueberry swirl ice cream. But the real reason is that he dared to go against the scientific consensus. Not only that, everyone who's read the paper mysteriously disappeared or ended up dead in a dumpster. So let's hear the scientific conclusion from Australia's leading climate scientist.
Climate change isn't the cause of these bushfires.
Wait, my mistake. This isn't Australia's leading climate scientist. It's plain old TV commentator Peter Credlin. We seem to be inundated with pundits all over the world who've suddenly found Australia on a map.
It's over your left shoulder, mate.
Note that the weather girl is cleverly standing in front of Eastern Australia. And it wasn't particularly hot over there on December 17th.
So that's how they hide below average temperatures, by sticking a weather girl in front of them. What a cunning plan. Simple, yet brilliant. If you look at the value on the right-hand side, just after the year 2000, notice how What? They're hiding the figures! Not again! Damn your cunning tricks, Bureau of Meteorology.
Droughts in the affected regions were caused by a natural weather phenomenon, the Indian Ocean dipole, not by man-made climate change.
Sorry, I accidentally injected a clip of another political commentator who's so knowledgeable about the Indian Ocean dipole he thinks it's called a dipole. It's almost as if he's just heard about it for the first time. To the west, the Indian Ocean dipole.
The Indian Ocean dipole.
The Indian Ocean dipole is caused by a temperature differential between the western and eastern parts of the Indian Ocean, hence the word dipole.
Dipole.
Shut up. I mean, surely Bloke in Beanie isn't just reading some nonsense he found on the internet, copied and pasted by someone else on the internet, from something that had been mindlessly passed around the internet by hundreds of other people, and not one of them bothered to fact-check it, right? I mean, that would be too stupid for words.
PCR basically takes a sample of your cells and amplifies any...
So you won't see any comment from Carrie Mullis about COVID-19, and if you do, it's either a fake or it's the work of a mystic who's managed to contact him from beyond the grave. In other words, also fake. So where does it really come from?
I'll give you the truth.
No thanks, you've had your chance. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Julian French.
Why are there so many videos of empty hospitals? Why aren't we discussing healthy lifestyles? Where's the flu gone? Why are the local elitists making billions
I mean questions about PCR. So does that mean the writer actually did her own research? Yes. Because in internet land, doing your own research means reading a tweet from someone else and mindlessly passing it on.
Let's see, now 3 millimeters a year, that means in 100 years...
No, you can't work it out in your head, Bill. It's not as if you can simply multiply 3 by 100.
I wish I had a science guy here to check my numbers.
Oh, God, you're not really going to just multiply 3 by 100, are you?
We'll be up to...
Don't say 300. Don't say 300.
300 millimeters.
No! 1988 plus 20 years makes... Too slow, Bill. 2008.